Good evening, friends. We are live again, and we are again talking about Dogecoin. You might have seen the title, something along the lines of your next Doge play. So just want to talk about what your next play should be, given where we're at. We're going to start like we always do, showing where Dogecoin is amongst the other altcoins, and it gets Bitcoin obviously being the big daddy, if you will, but we're going to go ahead and show that and go from there. So you'll have to let me know what you've been doing today with regards to Dogecoin. Have you had an opportunity to be watching it? Are you, now that it's evening, having time to evaluate how it's performed over the week? You know, do you have any plans this weekend with regards to maybe buying in a dip of some sort? Are you thinking about selling? I just want to hear everyone, what's going on with their portfolio. Do you have Dogecoin? Are you looking to get in? All those kind of fun things. So we're going to go ahead and get started again, first with the standings, if you will. So, like always, Bitcoin is at the top. It is under $1 trillion, though, for at least the second day. I think it's maybe been more like 3. Ethereum second. It's almost always Bitcoin and Ethereum number 1, number 2. Binance has been number 3 for a good long time. Dogecoin had been as high as number 4 ever so briefly, but stayed at number 5 for quite a while, stayed at number 6 for quite a while, and then it has traded back and forth between 6 and 7 and 8. So pretty much all of the cryptocurrencies by the end of this week have been, by the end of this week. So if we look at a 7-day, price, if you will, everything's down. Bitcoin down 19.5%, Ethereum down 8%, Binance Coin down a little over 1.5%, XRP down considerably, 31%. That may be a really good buy. Tether not so much, because it's pegged against the US dollar, so it's pretty much supposed to stay at 1 from what I understand. I don't really understand its purpose, but nonetheless, it has a pretty good market cap of almost 50 billion. Cardano is also down 20%. Another potentially very good buy. From everything I read and hear and watch, both Cardano and XRP, people talking about 10x at some point. And then we have Dogecoin at number 7. 31 billion. It's been as high as 52. So, when you look at all of these cryptocurrencies together, add up basically all of the, downward trend, if you will, over the week, and $200 billion basically just disappeared in market cap. And so a lot of these are down. And we'll talk a little bit about what possibly caused that, what it's going to take to recover. The stock market, generally speaking, I think has recovered. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, many of the other indicators of the broader stock market would seem to suggest that they have recovered from this announcement from Joe Biden about increasing the long-term capital gains, and we'll get into that. But anyway, this is where we're at. Dogecoin number 7, still respectable, still amazing for a coin that spent 7 years of its existence at under a half a penny. So not bad. So we got some people joining, and we're gonna do everything we can tonight to go and let everybody get involved in the conversation, and we're just getting started. So last Friday night we had a 4-hour stream, and there were enough questions coming through that I basically just went from one to the other. Got through all of them, but at times got behind a little bit, and we did that straight for 4 hours. So Dogecoin will increase today. Hey, Madhu, thanks for joining us. If you're new, by the way, I try to remember all the names coming through. Forgive me if you've been on this past week or maybe last week, and I've forgotten about it. But hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the notification button so you can know when we go live again. We'll go live every night. We don't have an actual schedule, unfortunately. A lot of things going on, but we definitely are going live every night. I actually lost count today, but I think today is 94 days straight. We were on a mission to go live for 100 days straight. We were probably going to continue that and keep going with all the excitement around Dogecoin, especially since I've gotten into that, and with my live streaming anyway. I don't see this stopping anytime soon, but I'm curious, Madhu, when you say it will increase today, let's have a little bit more conversation about that. And I'm going to show you here in a minute. You maybe have looked at it as well, but I'm going to pull up the 1 hour chart, and I'll show you that since about 6 o'clock tonight, at least, I think it has been steady at about 24 cents, I believe. Yeah, and the main reason for that, I contend, and there may be some others that, but you can, and we talked about this at length last night at the beginning of our stream, if you want to go watch it, and we'll talk about it potentially at length tonight. But these so-called whales are buying and selling, and basically can literally control with their activity where the price sits. So, and there was this thought that some of these whales would basically run out in 5 days or 4 days, and then they would not have any more. Well, I think what no one thought about, and maybe you're hearing it for the first time here, maybe not, but that was I think really, really good analysis. But as it turns out, and I can actually show you where it's the case, we'll show it tonight, where these whales started buying again even after they got to zero, and then basically the same behavior continued, in essence, for the most part, not exactly a sideways price for hours at a time, but practically sideways. So, hey, Kevin, hey, man, thanks for joining. I need Doge to drop to 15 cents again. You stole my thunder, because I was gonna, basically make a comment tonight that, unfortunately, a lot of us probably missed an opportunity. I'm even willing to get back in at 17 or even 19. So I've got some notes here that I took down because it's kind of interesting. 422, which was yesterday. The high was 30. We're just talking about a 24-hour period. The high was 30 and the low was 17. I'm leaving off the partial pennies, if you will. And then, so that's a spread of 13 cents. So that's a pretty good, swing, if you will, over a day. Now, today has been much, the swing has been considerably less than that, about half. So today, the high was 25, and then the low was 19. So I would have been happy getting in, honestly, at 19. 17 yesterday would have been better, and we were actually live when it hit that point. But and then at 1 a.m. this morning, I think that's Central Standard Time, because if I'm looking at it on my screen, that's when it hit 19 cents, and it's been, for the most part, it worked its way up to about 24, and that's where it's been for several hours. What would you say to people that invested around 700 and get scared and get out? Would you think that it would be a good idea if they held or get out? Yeah, that's a good question. Again, almost always, unfortunately, in one sense, there's probably at least two answers, but I would say, if they spent $700, it depends on their goals, and it also depends on how bad they need that $700. I talked about this last night, but I'm going to try to answer this in a couple of different ways. But if that $700, if it was their rent check or their car payment or half of their mortgage payment, and they don't have that money anywhere else, then I would say unfortunately they probably shouldn't have invested it, because we all know that there's some volatility right now in cryptos, especially. There's even some volatility, obviously, but less in stocks. But we're talking about Doge specifically, and we know over the last several weeks there's obviously been volatility. It went from 5 to 7 to 8 to almost 50 really, really quick. And then just as quick as it got up there, then it started on this downward trend, and had gotten back up to about 35, and then now it's hovered in the 20s with a few dips here and there. But let's try to answer the question. If they can do without the $700, if you will, if they don't need it immediately to take care of your general basic needs, my recommendation, if it was my $700, I'll say it that way, I would leave it in. I mean, I don't know. I'd be curious what their average cost is, because not only would I stay in, if I had a little bit more, I would obviously get back in, or not back in, I would get more. Like I said just now, I'd buy it 17 again for sure, just like Kevin wants it to be, or I would buy in at 19. I may actually buy more in at 21. I don't know. It depends on, do you have a long-term view or a short-term view? Do you need the money right now? Can you let it sit and wait on it? So my advice would be, again, if they don't absolutely have to have it, unless they bought, definitely if they bought it, it really doesn't matter, honestly, right? You don't want to end up buying high and selling low and getting out and losing money, when if you had just had diamond hands, as they say, and waited, then you could at least get to where you break even, reevaluate, and then maybe if you're just not cut out for this volatility and all that, then just get out. But I would not get out now, unless if they're scared and they're at least break even or made a little bit of money. If it's not for them, maybe they get out. Yeah, no problem, Chris. Come back when you can. No problemo. So, Madhu, I don't know if you're still around, but if you are, I would love to hear a little bit more about your thought about it increasing. We're going to do some analysis, a little bit more analysis. I'm going to show you guys. I took the top, actually, I think I took the top 100 whales and brought them into a spreadsheet because it's a little bit easier to read. And of course, I did that earlier today, and it's always changing. But a really, really interesting thing is that a couple of days ago when I was talking about this and looking at it, I'll affectionately refer to whale number 3 because at the time they were third, top, and number 1, number 2, and they were number 3, and they were definitely it was definitely one of the accounts that was selling off a boatload. They got to zero. It set at zero for quite a while. I don't remember exactly when, but they did this, but they started buying back. If we go look at it right now, it's probably even more. They were at number 66 today when I looked at it. So I'm actually going to pull up the spreadsheet, and then I'm going to show you guys that. We're going to go look at number 66. Another reason that I captured it in a spreadsheet is so that I could refer to things at least at a point in time, because when it's dynamic, it's hard to refer and talk through the data, because obviously, it's ever changing. But I'm going to pull this up, and maybe I make it a little bit bigger here, and I'll just have to scroll some. But here's the screen. All right, I'm going to leave the picture-in-picture off. So we're going to scroll down to number 66 first. So I'm going to put filter on here so that it'll be easy for me to get it. And so now if I go and find 66, there they are. And we're going to click in to this wallet and see what kind of activity there is. So the balance is 0 again. This is really interesting. I'm going to show you that it always wasn't. So I don't know what's going on. And I wish more people were on, and we may go through this again when we have more. Here is a point where they were at 0, and I think they were even at 0 one other time. Yep. They have gone to 0 a number of times. So you'll see here that 4 billion, 4B with a B, they've sold 4 billion right there, and then 100 million. Then they bought exactly the same amount, and then they sold exactly the same amount. And as you can see, the selling price is really, really close. And by doing that, they basically zeroed out. So they zeroed out twice, 0 Doge. Then they bought some, then they sold that same amount. Then they're at 0 again. Now they started buying, and so they started buying all of this, and then 0 again. So this is, this has to be calculated. There has to be a reason that they're doing it, and I can only make some assumptions. I have no doubt that they are working to manipulate the price in one way or another, maybe for ultimate good, or maybe not so good. But again, they were number 3, and the other day they were now at number 66, and now they would not even be on the list because they have 0 Dogecoin. So pretty interesting. So let's get to some other things that I wanted to talk through as well. I found this article on CoinDesk. Headline is Dogecoin and the new meaning of money. Of course, it says Dogecoin's popularity reflects big power shifts due to the social media and twin financial crisis. There's no more important story for the reimagination of money, says CoinDesk Chief Content Officer. Spoiler alert, they're basically going to crash the party with regards to Dogecoin. From everything I can tell, they're not positive on it, very skeptical, and you can come to your own conclusions. But in an ugly week for markets, it's striking. The crypto news that caught even more attention in the mainstream media was not Bitcoin's whopping 24% drop. And by the way, I'm going to pull Bitcoin up here in a minute. We're also going to look at Ethereum, and it's very possible that you should consider at least getting fractional positions in those two. But 24% drop from its peak early Saturday morning, but Dogecoin's spectacular rally earlier in the week. This week's column dives into the phenomenon. Okay, here we go. The Doge age. Part of me worried I was giving in to the temptation by writing this column. Translation, as far as I'm concerned, they weren't certain if them writing this article would be misinterpreted as their acknowledgement of Dogecoin being anything other than truly still a joke and something without any utility or purpose. So it says there's an understandable concern with the CoinDesk newsroom, so they're already making it clear that, hey, we have every reason to be concerned. And so we're going to let you know up front that covering Dogecoin could signal that we favor easy clicks from fanatics. Did you see that? Fanatics. So they're calling the Doge army fanatics. We should probably tweet this. I would ask everyone to retweet this link, and then maybe call CoinDesk out on calling you and everyone else in the Doge army fanatics. I don't care in one sense, but it's just it's so easy for them to just say that, right? So I'm going to cut and paste this here real quick, and I'll come back to the article so that you guys can have this and tweet it at will if you want, with some comments of some sort. All right, let's get back here. Fanatics over the risk of encouraging bubble-fueled investments in a coin with no inherent technical advantages. What's that supposed to mean? Over what? Number one, what are they comparing it to, right? What are they comparing it to? And is quote-unquote technical advantages the only thing that is required of a coin to be considered legitimate, or to be something that's actually something other than a joke? But anyway, but then I read Max Reed's excellent piece on the future of money from last week. I haven't read this yet, which inspired a delightful New York Magazine cover that asked the question, can I SPAC my stonks? Do you think that's a typo, or is that what they meant to say? Anyway, with NFTs, I think it probably is supposed to be misspelled. And I guess they're making fun of NFTs as well, which I think is unwise. I think NFTs have a very bright future in a number of ways, not only in art and music, but in broader commercial applications. Anyway, I digress. I now realize, hear me out, there's no more important story about the reimagination of money right now than Doge's crazy price surge. Dogecoin mania is exemplified by the cryptocurrencies community's failed quest to reach 69 cents on 420. I'll be the first to admit that Dogecoin did not get to the levels that people were hoping for. But, I don't see anything wrong with people getting excited about seeing something do well. I think a lot of people still just don't understand how all this works. But anyway, 69 cents on Tuesday in honor of 420. Yeah, whatever. Yet there's real serious money at stake. That's for sure. And this kind of leads into the question that we still kind of have open, that we'll get back to here in a minute. An example of someone that spent $700. They're worried. Should they get out? Should they stay in? What does a friend tell them to do? Or what does a friend, ask them to consider before they make their decision? All those kind of things. So yeah, there's a lot of money out there. There's two factors that are probably keeping the price steady and or at times going down. It's a combination of the whales manipulating, controlling the level at which the Dogecoin is selling at, and then probably a good number of people selling that were only looking for a fast buck anyway, and timing wise they didn't time the market very well, and they're losing and they're scared. I understand the I can fully understand where they're coming from. It's unfortunate that was the strategy that they were going for. I think a better strategy for the most part, especially if you're two things that I'll say about this next thing. I think the strategy that I'm about to say that I think is a better one is if you don't have a lot of time to either monitor, watch the movement of Dogecoin, on a daily basis, or if you don't have a lot of knowledge and understanding of crypto or even the greater stock market world, and if you don't have time to learn about it, then you just need to buy and hold, and then if you can, when there's a dip, buy more if you're looking to invest and if you're looking to make life-changing money. That's at least my thought. And by the way, I guess just the disclaimer that always has to be said is this: please don't consider this financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. I'm just a guy that is just as excited as most of you are about the potential of Dogecoin. I'm invested in Dogecoin. I am taking a long-term view on this, just like it was said earlier. In many ways, it'd be nice if it would go down to 15 so a number of us could buy more. So let's continue, and then I'm going to get back to the comments. In this sense, Dogecoin's wild ride encapsulates an important moment in human history. Society's traditional story of money is breaking down, where new, head-scratching concepts like SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies, and NFT, non-fungible tokens, are flourishing, and where fun and games and mob buying can overwhelm markets. I honestly think in many cases, there still has to be fundamentals in this to some extent. There's still, you can still benefit from technical analysis. For example, this meme type of thing and this mob quote unquote culture, just a large community getting behind something. Yes, that may be new, but I think more importantly, I think that, your institutional, Wall Street kind of people and others are concerned that they're losing control. I think they're honestly more concerned about that. So they need to, or they feel they have a need to try to change the narrative, make it sound like it's, just completely ridiculous, and, in a sense, virtually cry that things are just going to pot. In that sense, Dogecoin's wild ride encapsulating... Yeah, okay, sorry. I already read that. Doge is part of an intense competition for meaning within the world of money, a testament to the 21st century power shifts fueled by two separate financial crises and by the rise of social media networks. Okay, we're going to... basically I put in the link so you can read through the rest of this, but I would not consider this a... obviously... article that's positive on Dogecoin. I would say it shows actually the fear that some have with what Dogecoin could actually do, that's actually in the people's hands as opposed to in the hands of a few and of the elite. All right, we got quite a few comments here now, and by the way, we really just got started. So let me pull up the link here. This is the link, and it's in the chat where you can get the go to that. And again, I would say cut and paste that and tweet it out, which is what I'm going to do. While we're waiting on some other people to join, let's go in here and let's tweet. And I'm going to do this. So I know I'm still up. So you guys keep the comments coming, and we're going to try to get some other folks to joining us on Twitter here. I found that if I can retweet some and show some love to some of these other trending comments, we can sometimes get some other people on, have a good dialogue. Would you use Dogecoin on Amazon? It's a really good question. How many of you would use Dogecoin on Amazon? I don't think I personally would. Honestly, I've already showed the love on that, but I'm going to say, as an investor, for accumulation. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste this in here so they can know that we are live, and maybe someone will come join us. So let me know if you're watching the replay as well. I'd love for you to let me know, or if you're live, would you, and there's no right or wrong answer as far as I'm concerned, would you use your Dogecoin to buy something on Amazon if it was available to you? I saw some YouTube videos today that in my mind are unfortunate, because the title was Amazon decides to accept Dogecoin, and then of course the video is talking about how good it would be if they did. So it's clickbait, which is unfortunate, but it had a lot of views, so I guess it worked. All right, let's see what else is going on here. I wonder which company jumps on board the Doge coin today. I don't think anybody did today yet. I haven't heard, at least, of any that have. Maybe someone has. That would be awesome if they did. They're not liking this statement. Live now on YouTube. TLS supports Doge for Amazon. Let's see how many people are tweeting this kind of stuff. Retweet. Today's goal. Let's get Doge for Amazon trending. I don't know how well that did. Anyway, let's go back one. Let's go into Dogecoin instead, yeah, and look at the latest here for a minute. And I'm going to get right back to the comments, so you guys hang with me, and we will keep that dialogue going, and I've got some other things to show as well. 14 people wake up, get some Dogecoin. This coin will change lives. Rule number 1, never against Elon Musk. There are a lot of people, though, that are talking about it in such a way that they think it's imminent that that Jeff Bezos is going to get into Dogecoin himself and in essence promote it as the second richest man in the world, as well as make it to where people can buy things on Amazon through Dogecoin. Again, that wouldn't be something I would want to do, but I do believe that it's a catalyst. And I'm also, not sure, but think that it's at least a 50-50 chance that if Jeff Bezos does get in, that Dogecoin goes to $1 within a short period of time. There are some that believe it will literally happen within the day. What do you guys think? If Jeff Bezos either says, hey, I'm in the coin, or if he says Amazon is going to begin to accept Dogecoin today, how long do you think it would take to get to $1? And, what other catalysts do you believe are out there that could cause it to go to $1? Do you believe it's going to ever get to $1? It's certainly got to 50 cents, and it's very possible that these quote-unquote whales, in some ways or another helped it get to 50, and then they've been bringing it down so they can take it back up to 50 again. And so this thought that we had yesterday, and it's all guesses, right? Can't know. This thought yesterday that we had that maybe they're, in a sense, selling off so that it can be in the hands of more people, that has turned out to not necessarily be true. It's just pretty difficult to look at every single whale and what activity is going on and knowing which of those wallets are basically exchange wallets, which of those are personal wallets. Are they collaborating? In other words, are they coordinating an effort to manipulate the price up at some point and down at some point? There's certainly some stuff going on. Not really sure what it is, but we can't deny that something is going on. So here's a tweet. It says Doge will hit $1 by the end of the year. I'm just curious if you believe that, what will cause it to get there? So maybe. What catalyst? All right. Me trying to understand Dogecoin. Hey, Taco Bell, want to support the Dogecoin community and start accepting Dogecoin. Sorry, I don't eat at Taco Bell anymore, but I guess that would be good for people that do. How much Dogecoin do you have? Come on over. Come to the live stream and I'll tell you, right? Come to the... Just trying to get some feelers out there, get some people in. Actually, last Friday, as it turns out, it was just a really good Friday because we had, again, questions just coming right and left, and it was a good night. So I'm going to pull up the chart. I think that's the next thing we'll do, and talk through that a little bit. So what I have right now, I have Dogecoin up. I have the 1 hour chart selected, 1 hour down here. And I wanted to show what I was talking about earlier. So again, probably one of the best times, well, no question about probably, if you were going to buy, the best time over the last 2 days to have bought was at 11:05 or 11 p.m. Yesterday or Thursday. Today's Friday. And then after that, it was as high as 27 during that hour. And then we go to 12:05 and it goes down quite a bit, right? It goes from the previous hour being 27 down to a low of 20. And then, for a little while there, for a couple of hours, it's pretty much flat at 20. goes up a little bit to 21 as a high, goes up a little bit more, 22 as a high, a penny, the next hour, 24, still 24, still 24, and then, for the most part, it's at 24 at a high. Some some variation of 24 cents, 23 a couple of times as well for so far the rest of the time after that. So ever since 5:05 this morning, it has basically hovered around 24 cents, depending on what time you might have looked at it, and it's looking like it's going to continue that way right now. If we go look at another thing that I'll show you is that spreadsheet again, and so I'm going to clear this filter here and show you basically what I have done is is I've said, okay, I just wanted to look at today, Friday, alone. And I wanted to mostly look at the number of transactions out, which basically means, taking something away from your wallet or selling. For some reason, I tried to sort this by number of transactions. Excuse me, it's been a long day, and I did a 5.5 hour stream last night. This is 197,000 transactions. Not all of those on the 23rd. I'm not suggesting that, but it's been very, very active, in other words. And the last one, all of these, and that was, I did this at, I don't remember, 5 o'clock. So there's 27 different wallets transacting, some much higher than others, today on Friday. So let's go look at the first one. And at the time they ranked number 36, but it's got quite a few transactions there. So we're going to go look at their wallet and see what's going on there. Okay. So again, this is whale number 36. I don't know how else to refer to them. So the first really big transaction, I guess, for most of us, probably even 100,000 is a lot, but they sold 100,000 here, 300,000 here. 1 million. They purchased 1 million here. They sold 249,000. It's so funny to see these 152, 1, even sometimes it's like, why did they sell 152? But you'll notice, look at this. This is the part that's telling. 0.237 every transaction. Well, not every, but in other words, for a number of transactions, that looks probably about 15 transactions, all at the same price. And then you look down here below that, again, a number of transactions at 0.234, and in some cases, again, we're not talking about a lot, but here they purchased 1 million. Here they purchased another 1 million. Anyway, I guess the point is it's pretty obvious to me, and we talked about this last night, that there's they're doing this and they're getting all of these at the same price, so they're able to basically control the price until they are ready to stop being in the market in a programmed way. So if you guys have been looking at this at all, I'd be interested, obviously, to get your thoughts, your opinions on what's going on. But hey, Alexander, good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're briefly talking again about the whales, quote unquote. I going to pull up another link here real quick because I think it's helpful, and then I'm going to cut and paste it into the chat so you guys can look at it later yourself. But this was a Twitter, or a tweet, I should say, from I always forget his name, so I'm trying to pull it up first. I'll show it to you and then we'll talk about it. But from Shibatoshi Nakamoto, of course his name is Billy Marcus, I think it is. And this is dated a little bit because it's from February, but it still gives some insight. It says this is analysis from Bitcoin's is the pin, and that's what we've been looking at. Nothing confirmed but conjecture based on research. The majority of these addresses are services holding coins for the people, and they're only looking at the top 23. But if you actually go to this and click through it, it will take you to a Google Doc. And of course, again, this is, I'm assuming, a little bit old. We've had a lot of things happen since basically February to this coin. So this may or may not be, it may or may not help anymore, but it may. I've not had time to really look through this in a detailed way, but you can see, of course, they've done something very similar to what I did with regards to trying to bring this into Excel or Google in this particular case, and do some analysis with it. So I'm not going to keep that up, but I think that helps us understand a little bit about what's going on there. So by the way, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, that would be amazing. I know the regulars have, but you can go to @Trammel and get connected with me there. So let's look at the chart a little bit more and talk through that. And we're going to look at a couple of other things. Dogecoin is our primary topic for tonight, but as always, we'll talk about a couple of the other cryptocurrencies and a few of my favorite stocks that I either want to own or that I do own. So let's look at Bitcoin for a minute. It's had a wild ride, of course. This is the 1 hour for it, and excuse me, this would have been an excellent time, right here. So at today at 4:05, and that would be 4:05 in the morning, I think. Yeah, would have arguably been, well, it would have been, because you could just turn right around and sell it right this moment as we're talking and do very well. Almost 3,000, well, a little over 3,000, I think, dollars profit. But, assuming that Bitcoin's going to go back up to its 60,000, 64,000 52-week high, and then, continue to go from there up to potentially 200,000, that's a pretty healthy increase. And it also would allow you to have some diversification within your crypto portfolio. The other one that I like to think about, and there's a couple of others, but Ethereum especially, there are a number of analysts that believe that Ethereum will eventually take over Bitcoin as far as its appreciation and market cap. So Dogecoin is going to, of course, become more and more scarce. It's only 21 million total. Never can be any more than 21 million. And by 2040, it won't be able to be mined anymore. So at that point, at 2040, the maximum supply, if you will, quote unquote, will have been reached. And then, as it would be, in a sense, thought of as a store of value, it's going to trade at some pretty crazy multiples, most likely. So that's very possible. One way that it gets to 200 is, the approach, if you will, of that 2040. And I'm sure certain people will react way before 2040 with regards to trying to get some MicroStrategy, Tesla, a number of other large corporations are, making the move to get more and more cryptocurrency in their treasury and on their balance sheet. And MicroStrategy, 45 billion or something crazy like that, and it's now over 95% of their treasury, as opposed to dollars, I guess. So let's look at Ethereum now, or talk through Ethereum. It over the weekend, and then when did it here? On 4/19, 2,059. It had been as high as 2,600. Again, another nice little increase, and if it does actually overtake Bitcoin at some point in market cap, it's that this price is going to go up considerably. Let's move to one other. This is a security, if you will, or stock, but it's NEO. And that's not what I wanted. It does that sometimes. This is one I've been talking about for quite a while. I talked about it last night. Talked about it other nights, and I think I started covering it when it was about 36 or 37, and as you can see, it's 41 now. So if I had, more money or a way, or could justify reallocating my portfolio, I would definitely love to own more of NEO. They're a competitor to Tesla for electric cars in at least the luxury space. They're China-backed, but they're moving into Oslo, Norway, which I just heard today, or found out today, is the per capita most concentrated place in the world for electronic cars. So the other thing with NEO is because they've put forth the effort for infrastructure for quick charge stations, and then also automated. You don't have to get out of your car, full battery switch out, I think within 5 minutes, and then you have a new battery. It could be a battery that's up to 70 or 700 miles. You can get a smaller one, with less charge, those kind of things. So NEO, I'll leave it at that. I think is something you owe it to yourself to look into. Again, the 52-week high is basically $64. I'm sorry, $66. So 67. It's 66.99. And then the low has been, where is the low on this chart? $2.09. So the Shanghai Auto Show is going on. I believe it was going on this week. It's probably over now because it's really late in the evening or early morning hours, and they'll be getting up, of course, before too awful long. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes. All right, let's see how we're doing with comments here. We're getting kind of a slow start here tonight, but let me just leave up the chart here for a minute while I take a quick break. All right, I am back. I literally just put some peppermint oil in my water so that I can stay alert here. Again, with a 5.5 hour live stream last night that went until I think about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I had to get up by around 8:30 or so. So it's been a long day, and I know it's kind of early. A lot of the folks that we seem to get on come on late at night, and as I've mentioned, this time slot, I don't know how sustainable it is, but I hope that you, whether you're watching the replay or you're on live, will be able to come join me if I start doing it a little bit earlier. But I think I'm gonna, while we're waiting again for some people to join, I'm gonna go ahead and try to find some nice post on Twitter to show some love to. I'm kind of surprised that Slim Jim and Snickers and some of these other brands that were pushing Dogecoin so much. I'm surprised that they haven't really continued that. That's really been kind of quiet. It's really been kind of quiet. Doge going to be on the moon when the spaceship land. That's kind of funny. Well, let me switch to this. The reason that's funny, and I'm only guessing that they actually think that the liftoff that was today was going to the moon, but it was going to the International Space Station. So that's still going to be a while, but I'm going to retweet this because I'm like, why not? And we want them to come on over and watch our stream. I keep doing that. I'm going to have to change this phrase. I'll just change it to I'm live on. Let's see if we can get some people to join. If you're coming from Twitter, it'd be great if you'd just let me know. Say, hey, found you on Twitter, but if you found me on YouTube, that's great as well. Last night it started picking up. We started getting some people on. So, I'd love to know again, what's your I'll say re-entry point, if maybe you're not in Dogecoin at this moment, if you've not gotten in yet at all. In other words, basically, regardless of how many you have, whether you have some Dogecoin or don't, what price does it need to get to before you will buy more? Time to get back to 25. Okay, we're going to do something here. Just going to tweet a original ready to buy more Dogecoin. One thing that will, hey JG, Alexander, how's it going? 405 now. What's 405 now? So one of the things, that I think will, as we've talked about before, will make a difference, and an equity that you may be interested in. Let me pull up one other stock, because I think it will be something that you might want to look at. Let's look at Coinbase. Did it reach its low of 287 today? Let's see. So what was today's close? Okay, sorry. So today's close was 291. So it did not reach its all-time low today. That was probably yesterday. But as you can see, This has been from literally the, let's do the 1 day chart from its inception for the most part, which should have been the 14th, right? Yep, from the 14th all the way down, which is really, really interesting, because there are people that believe that this will eventually make its way to 600. So this could be a great opportunity to get in at a price below the IPO. Of course, I think we all know that a lot of times an initial public offering will, on the first day, go and end up higher, and or end up in a place where the next several days it will be lower. So which is obviously a bad spot to be in if you're an investor. That's why I'm honestly not even sure how often I would want to buy into an IPO until I've been able to look at it and how it's performing, because I would hate to have bought in at the top on this at 429. Oh, okay. JG says he has 405 coins now. That's awesome. That's great. What is the quote? Oh, are you saying? I can't see it. It's too small. Yeah, I'm sorry. You may be. Are you watching this on a phone? But I will pull it back up actually. And if you're talking about Coinbase, it closed today at 291, and it was as low as, what was the low today? Well, the range, I can't see this. Yeah, the low, sorry, 282, and it's hard because it's red, so I apologize. It is really small. I should just do this and go to Yahoo Finance or Finance Yahoo, and we'll pull up Coinbase there. Maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit better that way. So it's still pretty small, but it opened on today at 282, and it closed at 291. It closed even, under the previous day's close. And as you can see, the 52-week range is 282 to 429. And so today it reached a new low, because the range, today's range, is 282 to 303. So I don't know if it's found the bottom yet or not. I think this is a very difficult time with all of what's going on, and how the crypto market and Coinbase is kind of tied to the crypto market, if you will, since they're an exchange for the crypto market. It's hard to know if this is going to continue to go down. And so it's arguably the more important question is, how much higher do you think it's going to go? Not knowing exactly when, of course. But I'm also just here real quick, and again, I know it's going to be small, but I will show you again here real quick for those that are just joining new. We opened up with this and didn't have as many people on, but the this is the top 20 basically. You can look at more than the top 20, but this is the top 20 cryptocurrencies. Right now it's sorted by market cap, and you can see that Bitcoin, of course, is at the top, but it's been in the $1 trillion range, and now it's 936 million. Ethereum second, of course, a distant second, but second right now. And then Dogecoin is at number 7, 31 billion, and I think everyone knows, but it's been as high as 52. So it has lost a significant amount of its market cap, and the overall market cap for cryptocurrencies is down 200 billion. So, there's been a pretty significant, quote unquote, collective downward, move with the cryptocurrencies. Over the weekend, I'm honestly kind of bragging, that as Bitcoin had this downward looking slope, Ethereum also had a downward looking slope for the 7-day part. Dogecoin was basically going up. But look at it now, right? It's a lot different story. But as I've mentioned earlier, pretty early in the live stream as well, we were talking about the Dogecoin wallets and the activity there. And I mentioned at the outset of that as well, a lot of the live streams have been saying, okay, they've got 5 days, and when that's over, we should expect the price to change. But what maybe no one expected or thought of, but now we know is actually the case, several of these whales that went literally to zero, they sold everything they had over a course of a number of days, sit idle maybe for a little bit, and then they just started buying back again. And you can see for multiple purchase timings, about 15 minutes apart or whatever it is, that they bought an amount, and then they sold an amount, and the amount that they paid for it and the amount that they sold it at was exactly the same, and hovering around this 24-cent mark. So I'm hoping that at some point the opposite obviously is going to occur, and that this manipulation at some point is going to cease. I can wait. I think that it's helpful, again, in this particular case, to have diamond hands, as they say, and be in a position where you can wait and let all of this manipulation that's going on, for whatever reason that it's going on, end, and then hopefully things can get back to kind of normal. Hey, thanks. I'm really sorry. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to say your name. I'm literally afraid. I'm showing your comment. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. You look like a new a new joiner. Thanks for being on the stream. Would love to know how you found us. We're just getting started really as a channel. I mean, I've had the channel for a while, but we this is about, I think, day 13 where we've been covering Dogecoin, cryptocurrencies, the stock market to a certain extent, talking about investment, just giving people an opportunity to dialogue and, talk about Dogecoin and what's going on with it. So would love for you to subscribe and turn on notification if you would like to, know when we go live again. We had a really good night last night. If I can just briefly mention that, we had, I think, 12 or 13 new subscribers, and for a new channel or a relatively small channel like mine, that's a milestone to celebrate. So we're super close to getting to the 500 mark, which is halfway where we want to be. Some of these other channels, I'll be honest, I'm envious of in one sense, but happy for them. They've grown, thousands in one day. And so they get all the credit for what they're doing. It's great. It's awesome. So our goal is to get to 1,000. So if you're liking what you're getting here, it would be amazing if you would share it out, ask your friends to join one of the streams, and we'll get them involved as well. So thanks for being here. my crowd doesn't seem to even start coming until midnight. I'm wondering if I shouldn't just go to bed and for a couple of hours and in a sense take a nap and then get back up and and go from that. Last Friday was amazing. We had like I mentioned, just one comment after the other scrolling by. I got to every one of them, but it literally took 4 hours to go through that. And I see someone else joining. Just want to say welcome. Thanks for joining the live stream. We're really just getting started. Our average live stream is, been anywhere between 2.5 hours to last night's. People just kept coming. And so I just kept it on and we went 5.5 hours, which is crazy. That's the longest that I've gone, but we were having great conversation, some really good questions, some really good actually thoughts and ideas from those joining through the chat. So really do appreciate you coming tonight. I will say also, just kind of like an advertisement, but it's something that's free. So I don't know if you really advertise for something that's free. Kind of joking, you do, but StreamYard is what I'm using to stream with, and it's basically a cloud-based solution for streaming. So you can see the link down in the bottom right. You can sign up if you want to stream some and you want something that's easy, super easy to use. Then you can go to that link, strammel.info/StreamYard, get an account, and you can go stream live for up to 20 hours a month and up to 2 destinations. And you can use it basically as something similar to Zoom, to have up to 6 people on basically a conference call, a video conference call. And they're not limited like Zoom is. So Zoom's is 40 minutes, I believe it is. With StreamYard, if you're not going live and it's just a conference, if you will, conference call, there's no time limit at all. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to pull up the 1 minute chart so we can kind of be following Dogecoin a little bit closer. So again, as you can see, it for quite a bit of time has stayed right here at the 24s, and then it's been working its way down 23 area. It's back up to 24 now, and I'll be the first to say, as much as I'd like to give you some kind of a hint of where it's headed, I don't know how we do that at this point in time with what's going on with the whales. So until they get through doing what they're doing, I think you honestly kind of have to look at the those underlying wallets and see their activity, whether they're buying, or selling, and it will probably give you honestly an indication of which direction they're trying to take it. Are they trying to take it down in price, or are they trying to take it up in price? So I already asked this earlier, but I'd love to see in the comments, you guys tell me if you're wanting to either get in, you have no Dogecoin, or you want to get more. What price are you looking for? If you have the money to get in, what for you? What is the dip? Is it 24, which it's already at? Is it 23? Is it 15? Do you think it'll ever get to 15 again? What I know by looking at those wallet, they had tons of Doge to basically sell large quantities at a time. We're talking a lot of times 1 million coins, and the best they could do, with probably the help of people selling off because they're like, what's going on? They didn't have the benefit of knowing, in many cases, all this information about the whales. So in other words, with some help, people panic selling. But other than that, with these whales doing what they're doing, basically it got down to 17 and change. And then I missed it because yesterday, and I was live streaming, and I halfway joked about, that I'll do it later. But of course, we streamed until 3 in the morning, so I went to bed, and 19 would have been another good place to get in. Or I should say, get in with more, because I do already have a position. So I'd also be interested to hear what you guys think about, this is true in the replay as well, right? So if you're watching the replay, let me know that. And then instead of the chat, certainly in the comments, let me know, number one, do you believe that Biden will be able to get a 40%, basically almost a 40% long-term capital gains tax passed? And if you're in New York or California, then that becomes just a little over 50%. So I can't imagine even people that voted for Joe Biden, I can't, especially if they're business folks, that type of thing, that they're super happy right now that they voted for him. So I'm not sure that they knew maybe what they were signing up for. I don't know. So now we got some new people joining. Want to welcome everyone. And we're talking about Dogecoin tonight. And want to know where your getting in point is. It's at about 24 right now, and it's been at 24 for a number of hours, most likely because the whales have been manipulating it. But nonetheless, they have created buying opportunities. That's what I would say. They've also had the effect of scaring some people off and scaring people into selling, and that's a shame. But had you bought at 19 cents, had you bought at 17 cents, you had the opportunity to average down. If you were one that bought at 35, 37, possibly even in the 40s, then at 17 or 19 cents would have been a great place to buy more, and then adjust your average price. So I know that's what I'm hoping for, and it's already been mentioned. It'd be great if it went down to 15 again, but I don't think it will. We'll have to see. But I don't know. Got in at 55, but averaged up to 11 cents. Wow. Okay, cool. Oh, I see. You got in at 0.05. Sorry, I thought 55, which it hasn't even reached 55 yet, so that wouldn't have been possible. But Devil's Reaper, hey, that's amazing. Congratulations. That's a nice little bag. I just heard that honestly for the first time today. And again, I'll be the first to admit that I'm still learning some things and the lingo in some cases, but 24,000, that's a good amount to be sitting on. I'd be curious to know what platform if it's a single one or multiples, what platform, because I'm honestly always also looking to get input to possibly switch. I'm using Robinhood mostly. My buying power finally showed up in webull, and from what I can tell, it takes 5 days. If you transfer money from your bank account into webull and want to use it to buy cryptocurrency, it takes 5 days. So I'm not too happy with their buying power process, if you will, when I compare it to Robinhood. Robinhood's is much more, they're much more generous. You transfer that money, it's basically available immediately up to $1,000, unless you have Robinhood Gold, and then you even get more depending on how much, what your account, how big your account is. So that aspect I like of Robinhood, but I like the interface and everything on Webull. So yeah, I'd love to know, Devil's Reaper, how you're buying. And also curious if you're on Robinhood, or anyone that's on Robinhood, do you plan on using the wallet when they come out with it? I'm not really sure why any of us wouldn't, because I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to, basically take the Dogecoin that you bought through Robinhood off of the exchange, unless you basically sell it, convert that to dollars. Sorry. And then, transfer that money somewhere and then buy back in. And of course that could take a good little while. And in that time, maybe the price changes. So I've actually also heard people talking about Robinhood saying that when they wanted to sell, they couldn't sell. So Robinhood's got some things that they need to deal with, as far as perception and that type of thing. Yeah, definitely hoping for a wallet. Me as well. I printed an article last night that I referred to last night and last night's live stream as well, from Gary Vaynerchuk, and I think he has a really good article on wallets and on NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And I'm going to pull that up real quick, and then I'm going to put it in the comments again, because I thought it was very, very helpful. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gary V, but I think he's very, I think he's someone that's got some great thoughts. So I like to glean from what he's putting out there. He puts out a lot of stuff for free, basically. So. Hey, Dyslexic Boba. So when you say card, are you talking about the wallet, I'm assuming? Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk, you need to go check his YouTube channel out. Not right now, of course, but go check out his YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter. I would highly recommend that. I mean, he's an entrepreneur. He's probably worth about $400 million or so. Not that, that necessarily makes someone an expert, honestly. But yeah, he's got a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, which I really enjoy. And by the way, those of you that are trying, are using Robinhood, but you're thinking about maybe trying Webull, if you don't already have an account, I do have a link in the description. That would be one way that you could, kind of support the channel. We're not sponsored by anyone. We're not in the YouTube partner program at this point in time. So there's no super chat. There's nothing. So, we do this, number one, because we enjoy it. Number two, because, trying to bring value to our audience in the Dogecoin community. And so hopefully that's what we're doing. But as I mentioned earlier, we're on the goal. Our goal is to get to, at a minimum, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And I appreciate everyone here because you're helping me get there. And it means a lot to me. I'm running on vapors, if you will, in many ways. I'm literally drinking water with a peppermint essential oil in it to try to give me a little bit of pep in my step. We had that 5.5 hour live stream last night, and and then got a little bit of sleep and got up for the day. So we're happy to be here, happy to be talking about Dogecoin, and looking forward to, like I said last night, hearing the stories of those that end up being a regular here on this channel and come back and have these amazing stories that they've got life-changing, basically a portfolio that's now literally life-changing. So in the moment that they cash it out or part of it out, then maybe they're set for good, which would be great. All right, Devil's Reaper. Well, hey, the other cool, use the link if you want. That'd be great. With webull, you can actually get your first stock with them before you even fund your account. So the thing I like about webull is I can download their desktop tool. That's what I was showing earlier. Maybe you joined and didn't see it, but it's really helpful. I'll be bringing it up again throughout the night. You can see it again. But you can get your first stock just by signing up, I'm pretty sure. And you get up to 2 stocks. And they can be worth up to $1,850, which is more generous than Robinhood. With Robinhood, you can get up to 3 stocks, but the total value of those can't exceed $500. So the free stock that I got with Robinhood was worth, I think, $4. So, $4 is $4, but hey, Yeah, Devil's Reaper. I like the thought of that, of Dogecoin being the next Bitcoin. As far as it ever having the price of Bitcoin, I don't see that happening in our lifetime, or maybe ever, just because of its structure. But I do believe that because of the price that it is right now, people can still become millionaires. Unless you're already a millionaire, you're not likely to become a billionaire with Dogecoin, but it could certainly set you on a path to becoming a billionaire by making you a millionaire first. I just, because of the market cap that Dogecoin would have to be at and the number of people that would have to actually be behind it, I guess anything is quote unquote possible. But most of the analysts that I am following and have listened to their stuff and read their stuff, and I'm talking about ones that are actually pro Dogecoin, they're actually investing in themselves, say that, it'll never even reach 1,000. I think we can entertain the thought of it reaching 100, but beyond that, it's really hard to imagine. So now is the time to get in. If you're in, now's the time, arguably, to get more. Will there be another dump? Or will there be another down, a downward spiral? Maybe. I really wish, like I said, I really wish that I had been prepared, that had the extra money, all the things to get more at 17. But I didn't, and, it'll be okay, though. Yeah, for sure. So, I pulled up an article earlier from CoinDesk, and I've cut and pasted that into the chat as well, and I'm actually encouraging everyone to tweet it out and then, kind of give them a little bit of a hard time. I wouldn't be mean about it, but give them a hard time with this link here, because in that article, they basically say that the people behind Dogecoin are fanatics. You may not care that they're calling you that, and I don't necessarily care either. I care more about the fact that they're discounting something that I think has some real potential. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll say it again, real quickly, because I think we do have some new people on the stream at this point in time. You know, I think that a lot of these you know, financial institutions, if you will, and the traditional financial media and all of that, I think they're actually afraid of what Dogecoin could actually do, and you know, basically remove some of the power that some of these institutions have, that some of the elite have, those types of things, and put more power into the hands of the people. Thought it was really interesting, and I need to go find it, the actual video. And I think the guy that owns MicroStrategy, well, he's the founder. He doesn't own it per se because it's a publicly traded company. I'm sure he has a lot of his own stock, but I think it's Michael Farmer. I think that's his name. But he was commenting on, you know, basically the Joe Biden talking about taxing Bitcoin, for example, and he's like, how's that going to happen? How is he literally said it on national TV. He's like, oh, well, have you ever heard the term, I lost my Bitcoin? If you've got Bitcoin in a offline hardware, offline hardware wallet, then it might be possible to basically, I guess, evade, right? I mean, that's basically what it sounds like he's saying. So I'm going to guess he didn't vote for Biden because it sounds like he wants to keep as much of his money as he can. I'm not going to, I don't want to get, into politics necessarily. And I said this last night, but if you look at just generally speaking, liberal and conservative, obviously, it's probably mostly the liberal leaning kind of individual that put Joe Biden in as president. But I would think even those people, those that have, significant money, are not too thrilled about having to pay twice as much, and in some cases more than twice as much in taxes. Long-term capital gains is one of the few incentives, right, for people to invest, hold on to their money, take their profits after that first year. And I think it's going to create a lot of problems if it gets passed. I don't know if it will or not, but hey, Alexander. Oh, that's a I already said hello to you, but $100 sounds good to me. Yes, $100 sounds good to me as well. I've got a spreadsheet that I think pretty much stops at 100. In other words, I've got a spreadsheet or a model, if you want to call it that, where, at 50,000 coins with an average cost of X, right, and it and me selling it at 100 per coin, how much am I going to have, kind of thing. So I like to dream with that. Well, let's look again. Here we've got the 30-minute up, and again it continues to, mostly do what is typically called trading sideways, right? It's still in this 24 area. I mean, it really has not broken out today's high, right? And so that would be pretty much a 24-hour window. Today's high, 24.64. Today's low, 23.84. Sorry, because I know some of you can't see that. And it could stay there for quite a while. It really just depends on how many, literally billions of Dogecoin that some of these whales want to buy and sell. Let's look for, I'm going to look for, because I think it's Mike Farmer. No, I'm going to look at it this way. Macro Strategy CEO. So here's the article, and as I mentioned, and I hope this is an article that I can read all of without subscribing, but it is Michael Saylor. Sorry. You may or may not have heard of their company, but they're kind of like a business warehouse, data transformation, all of those kinds of things. And of course, some other companies have, have bigger names in that space, but they have gone whole hog, as they say, on getting into Bitcoin. So Michael Saylor's transformation into a corporate Bitcoin evangelical started prosaically enough. Wow. He's the CEO of a publicly traded enterprise software firm, MicroStrategy, and with $482 million in 2020 revenues and a business steady but expenses down because of COVID last year, cash reserves started piling up. Like many in the Bitcoin verse, Saylor has a profound unease about central banks propping up economics with cheap money that can be printed. By his calculation, the increase in the monetary supply devalues the dollar, by 15% a year. He refers to cash as trash and a melting ice cube. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is digital gold. In August, Saylor took the unorthodox step of moving a portion of his company's treasury reserves into Bitcoin, buying 21,454 Bitcoins for $250 million. MicroStrategy continued buying, and in February, it added almost 19,452 Bitcoins for $1 billion, bringing its total holdings to 90,531 Bitcoins. Current value, $5 billion. Now, of course, that's dated, and depending on how much it was when he was buying, they may actually be losing money on it right now, but he obviously has a long view on it. The company's stock has soared in response, closing in March. Wow, at $724 per share, up from $107 a year ago. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. But it was a casual Twitter exchange that solidified Saylor's position as a crypto guru. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are digital, decentralized forms. We know that. In December, Elon Musk tweeted a slightly risque image of a Franciscan monk, eyes cast heavenward, hands collapsed in prayer, trying to resist the sultry allure of Bitcoin. Saylor replied to Musk that he should do Tesla shareholders a $1 billion favor and convert Tesla's balance sheet from dollars to Bitcoin. Musk responded, "Are such large transactions even possible?" To which Saylor replied, "Yes, I have purchased over $1.3 billion in Bitcoin in the past months and would be happy to share my playbook with you offline." For one rocket scientist to another, Saylor 56 has dual degrees in aeronautics and astronautics from MIT. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Musk, on February 8th, Tesla disclosed that it had bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin using cash on its balance sheet and said it would begin accepting digital coins as payment for its products. That part we knew, right? So Saylor joined Time on March 16th for a video conversation about his efforts. So that's something I would go back and try to find. I'm not going to go through the whole back and forth on it, but to make it clear, he is definitely a Bitcoin guy. With all the recent activity in social media, the companies that are circulating it, if they sell it back and not hodl it, I think 100 is capable. Yeah, I mean, right. I think if people, it's going to take a lot of things for it to get to 100. It's going to take a number of things just to get to 1. Obviously, it's incremental, but the first hurdle is get it to $1. Get more and more merchants to accept it, because it's never going to compete with Bitcoin as a store of value or like a digital gold, just like this article is talking about. But what it can be very good at is a alternative to a dollar, let's say, or a euro or whatever, for everyday goods and services. And although it has a built-in kind of a inflationary element to it, it's not 15%. And that's just exactly what we saw earlier. And so, reading that article actually helps with the narrative of saying that Dogecoin very much has a real utility as a alternative everyday form of paying for goods and services. And as we know, more and more merchants are accepting it, and it really becomes a matter of a merchant just deciding they want to do it, because there's a company called BitPay that can facilitate basically taking the cryptocurrency that particular person holds and converting it to US dollars for the merchant, or the merchant can work with someone like Coinbase and then actually keep the cryptocurrency and allow it to appreciate in value, and then allow them to basically have their cash without having that 15% annual inflation rate. And it could get worse. I mean, we printed, if I understand it right, 40% of all of the dollars in the US that's ever been printed have been printed this year. That's just crazy. We have a $28 trillion debt, and I think we're adding to that obviously $1 trillion or so every year or something like that. It's crazy. And as you know, Joe Biden's stimulus package, I think it's $1.9 trillion. How is he going to pay for that? They don't get enough taxes to pay for the debt and all those kind of other things. The way he's going to pay for that is print more money. Yeah, I mean, people by the droves are losing confidence in the dollar. I mean, to the extent that he's close about the 15%, there's no way that most people are not getting a 15% raise every year. It's probably 2 or 3% on average, and that's actually something I'm going to write down because I want to look that up. Not right now while we're doing the live stream, but I do want to look that up because that's meaningful. All right. Hey, Shinzi, I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome. Thanks for coming and joining us. I would love to find out how you came along onto the stream. I hope you'll stay. We're just honestly really just getting started, and would love to hear, how things are going with you with Dogecoin. I'm going to assume that you have some Dogecoin or you're very interested in getting some, what questions do you have? What would you like to tell us about your experience with it? But thanks for joining. I would be super honored if you would subscribe. If you haven't, turn on that notification bell so that you'll know when we go live again. We've got, a lot of hopefully good plans, to cover Dogecoin every night. We've been live streaming for now 94 nights straight, and, going to continue. I'm an active investor in Dogecoin myself, so I'm not just riding some popular wave. I'm actively right in the middle of it myself, so I really do appreciate you joining. If you found me on Twitter, follow there, and if you hit the like button, that would be amazing. But let us know, what's going on with you with Dogecoin and all of that. We have been talking about, since you're just now joining, I will kind of repeat this part because it might be helpful depending on what you're looking at doing. But and I'm going to pull up the chart again. But this is what's called a 1 hour chart. So every one of these candlesticks, whether they're purple, and I know they're small probably, if you're on a computer, or if you're on a phone or something, but each one of these quote unquote candlesticks, whether this purplish color or green, then that represents right now 1 minute, right? So this is, each one of these are a minute long, and you can see these patterns. So if we go over to here at basically 11:51, right? So almost midnight, you've got this almost straight across pattern here. We call that trading sideways, and it stayed at 24 that whole time. Jumped up a little bit, and then kind of went down for a little bit, and then back like this, and then again now for the most part pretty much sideways, and then we're going back up. But all of these are still within the range of 24 cents. So we have not gone, we've not at least closed any of these cycles at above 24. They're all 24 and change. And so we've been talking about these so-called whales that have literally billions of Dogecoin that they're buying and selling, and one would, I think, assume that they're basically manipulating right now. And so a lot of people are looking for buying opportunities. So question that you might want to jump in on is, what price would it need to be before you're going to either buy in for the first time or buy more? I'm looking for I'd buy back in at 19. I shouldn't say buy back in. I would buy more at 19. I would definitely buy more at 17. 15 would even be more amazing. Now, of course, I'm afraid that if it reaches 15, those that got in, not too long ago with all that was going on to promote 420, and all those that got in purely just by looking at what others were saying, didn't do any of their own research, that type of thing, they may or may not have the nerves of steel that are necessary to continue holding on if it goes back down to 15. But that is definitely, in my opinion, a point where someone should heavily consider buying more. You guys are being quiet tonight, so let's see what else we can talk about here. I've got this story from Investor Place that I thought I would also walk us through at least parts of it. I think that a lot of these articles, the fact that they're even written, says something about the legitimacy of Dogecoin, even if the articles are negative or down on Dogecoin, because these analysts and editors and writers and all of that, they have to spend the time writing the time investigating and all the things, and so the fact that they're putting in the time, I think has some meaning. But here it says the top Reddit stocks and Dogecoin have created bubbles. So they're already making some assumptions, right? They're making an assumption that it's a bubble. And so my question to this author or others, and it may be in a bubble, let's be honest, let's be transparent. It's possible that it's in a bubble, but what evidence do they have? What fundamentals or what technical analysis have they done that can substantiate their claims that there's this bubble? It's hard to really say that we're in a bubble when, again, these whales can manipulate, and so until they're done doing what they're doing, and until they've achieved the goals that they're looking to achieve, we are under a situation where those should be considered, in many ways, I think, outliers. And I talked about this last night. In other words, hopefully that's not a quote-unquote common thing, so that we can analyze things and truly look at them from, a behavior that's more consistent and absent of manipulation, at least to any large degree. But let's read through this a little bit. It says, from EVs to marijuana stocks, Reddit fads have returned regular investors in Wall Street kingmakers. I'd really also be curious how many of you guys are on Reddit or on Discord, along with Twitter. What two things do electric vehicles and marijuana stocks have in common? One, both industries became retail investor darlings last year. Many companies in these sectors became known as Reddit stocks for their prominence on the freewheeling or Wall Street Bets subreddit. I have not been on that subreddit, honestly. Now, they had banned any discussion of cryptocurrency on that. I know that much. And then they said, okay, we're going to allow it. And then they only allowed it for a day and they banned it again. So for whatever reason, they're not wanting to have, and it's very possible that they just don't want the volume of data going through there to just maybe double or triple. I don't know what it would be, but there is a Reddit group that's devoted to Dogecoin, and we'll pull that up actually here in a minute, that's got 1.5 million members in it. And I'm going to get back to the comments here in just a minute. But the second similarity is less obvious. Both were top Reddit stock bubbles that have burst this year. Regular investors might have missed that the average top 10 stock in each industry is down 60% from its peak. Analysts expect more losses to come. Yet the Reddit stock bubble is unlike anything we've quite seen before. Rather than sending investors panicking, these bubble bursts have spawned more manias, really. More manias in their wake. This week, Dogecoin, let's see when this was written, actually. Can we tell? Yeah, April 23rd. So it's pretty recent. This week, Dogecoin briefly became the fifth largest cryptocurrency despite having no clear, this is in every article it seems, having no clear ambitions for real world use. I think most of us could list off at least 5 or 6 places where Dogecoin can be used to buy goods and services. There's nothing forcing the Mavericks or the Houston Rockets or the college baseball team in Texas or wherever it is, Newegg, maybe Amazon in the future. There's nothing forcing those merchants, those companies from taking Dogecoin. They're obviously a part of the bigger picture with regards to, if they're going to take it as a form of payment, then it has a real world use. And we just went through an article that kind of talks about how, or I have another article. We didn't actually go through that one, but basically makes it pretty clear how Dogecoin could become legitimately an alternative to the dollar. Meanwhile, traditional investors have started worrying about missing out. Once off-limit investments like Tesla and Bitcoin have gone mainstream as institutional investors reach for returns. Okay, so they're talking about some of these other things. Anyway, I think I'll leave it at that, but this is basically, I want to do one other thing because I'm a big fan of ARK here, and this is talking about Cathie Wood, who is the founder of ARK and the ARK Innovation ETF, among others, and it says, Cathie Woods has seen a more extreme shift. Last year, its top 10 holdings had a median price to sale to growth ratio or PEG ratio for high growth companies of just 0.15. Sorry, today that figure is 0.5. In other words, Miss Wood's fund is risking far more money for less growth potential. So it has completely disrupted, and then I'll just leave it at that. We won't read through the whole article. This meteoric rise, as they say, of Dogecoin and to a lesser extent some other altcoins has the analysts just totally out of their element and not knowing what to do. All the places list. Yep, that was my point. Yep, exactly. I mean, you made a really good point. You did, and you get the credit for that. Exactly. That the more of these merchants, companies start bringing on online the ability to accept Dogecoin, then it's only going to make it better for us that are investing in it. I mentioned this last night, but WeWork is a shared office space, I guess you could say, kind of company, or basically, a new breed of leasing company, real estate leasing company, and they're going to start paying their affiliates, I think it is, in Bitcoin, and or several Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. Not Dogecoin yet, but it's it's helpful that even if it's not Dogecoin, it's helpful that more and more companies are saying, yeah, you can buy our products with Bitcoin. Yes, you can buy our products with Ethereum. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum have high transaction cost and longer transaction execution times, but things like Ripple and Dogecoin, for that matter, happen much, much faster, and they also cost considerably less. So it's a win-win. So, they can try to explain it away all they want, but I think that Dogecoin is here to stay. I hope you guys think that it's here to stay. Want to see every one of you, come back with that amazing story of, hey, I've now made life-changing money by having those diamond hands and holding and buying on the dip and getting more, and at some point potentially even becoming financially free. Yep. Getting some traction. I'm waiting for it to either break or go down. 24. It's been hovering around 24 for the longest. I would prefer, again, as someone wanting to buy more, I'd prefer for it to go back down to 17. I wish I could have bought in there, but I'd also buy more at 19. I'm glad you brought up. I can't even talk. Glad. You can tell I haven't got enough sleep. I'm glad you brought up Elon Musk, and I'm going to look at your actual comment, and then I want to comment on something else because it made me remember. But Starbase in Texas, you think the lineup of him saying that he was going to create a town, then loses $27 billion. Yeah. I know less, honestly, about this Starbase thing. I do know that he's actually has a home in Texas now, from what I understand. Part of SpaceX is in Corpus Christi, and Tesla, from what I understand, I think is building something really big here in Texas as well. So, and I'm from Texas, so I'm definitely welcome him with open arms. But I think a lot of people have been wondering, okay, when is he going to tweet about Dogecoin again? And the reality is, he kind of has some higher priority issues that he needs to deal with first. They just had the deployment for one of the rocket, whatever you want to call it, to take some folks to the International Space Station, and also with this car that basically ran into a tree, caught on fire. They couldn't put the fire out. All of that the truth isn't always what people want to hear, and telling the truth isn't always going to resolve, I guess, the negative publicity, if you will, right? So there are some people that are just looking for an excuse to say, I told you that Tesla wouldn't work. I told you that that a car couldn't drive itself. But the reality is, with that Tesla situation, from what I understand at least, is the people that had that car did not pay for a augmented driving or augmented AV, whatever you call it, right? Didn't pay for the package that would allow it to basically drive on its own. And from what I understand, they hacked into it, got the software, if you was something or another, and tried to basically turn that part on. And they took their life into their own hands, which is just completely crazy. But Elon's dealing with that. I mean, that's a serious matter. People died, even if it wasn't ultimately Tesla's fault. They have to prove that, really, out in the public. And so I think a lot of people would just give him a lot of grief if he tweeted right now about Dogecoin, given the fact that it's not taken seriously by a lot of people. So he would be criticized for not taking serious, the more pressing matters of, why did your car crash into why did your car crash into a tree? Why could they not put out the battery? I think that's the bigger problem, honestly. From what I understand, Tesla directs people to just basically let it burn until it burns out, because they're like, you can't actually put it out with at least traditional means. And I see that as being a big problem. You can't tell police departments and EMT just let it keep burning, because if someone's in the car, if you just let it keep burning, they could burn up. while they're in there. So there's got to be a better solution for the batteries. So I think they've got their work cut out for them there. Hey, Reaper, Devil's Reaper, so you're in Houston. That's awesome, man. Fellow Texan. That's great. Yeah, and I think it will. I think it will eventually die out. I mean, you guys may or may not know, but in right now, there's a... well, it's probably ended now because I think it was during this week Shanghai Auto Show in China. And I talked earlier, and I won't pull it back up again, but talked about NIO as a stock that I'm invested in, think will do good things. I started covering it, quote unquote, at $36. It's at $41 now. So that's been a good pick for me. But at that auto show, apparently there was a lady that claimed that her dad's Tesla, that the brakes didn't do what they were supposed to do, and that that the accident that her father had, was because of the faulty brakes. And as you probably know, nowadays, and especially Teslas, I guess, they have all kinds of diagnostics and information that they're getting in real time, Internet of Things and all of that. And Tesla is saying that the brakes didn't fail. But she was literally getting up on, I think, a sign of Tesla's or the roof of Tesla in China or something like that. And she actually had to be detained for 5 days. So Elon Musk and Tesla especially has some damage control, if you will, that they need to do. So... So just want to remind you guys, if you haven't, and if you're getting some value out of this, two things I'd like to ask is if you subscribe and turn on notification, hit the like button. I like to put those all together as one thing that you could do. And as a second thing, if you could follow me on Twitter, that would be amazing. That would be super amazing. And share this video out, this live. You can go down and hit the share button, and maybe we can get some more folks to interact with this. I've got on my clock that we're 2 hours in, so we're as long as we have people on, we're going to continue to go live, or we're going to continue to stay live. But yeah, it'd be helpful if we get some people coming on so we can have dialogue. So let's just get on Twitter and let's kind of see what's happening with the latest tweets coming out on Dogecoin on Twitter. Let's give Mr. Soul some love. We'll retweet his out. Oh, we're going to retweet it, but quote, and then maybe we can get some people to join the stream. I mean, I'm curious if you guys think that the energy that that's been behind Dogecoin, if it's kind of still at the same level it was, do you think maybe it has gotten do you think that it's gotten less or more? You know, it's about the same. What do you guys think? Hey, Coca-Cola, would you consider taking Dogecoin as a payment method? So, you know, don't normally pay Coca-Cola directly. You know, for the most part, we're buying Coca-Cola and stuff like that from a grocery store or gas station, or we're getting it as a part of a meal, that type of thing. So, but they could, I guess, pay their vendors in Dogecoin or receive it as payment. So I think that there's two sides to most of these equations, right? So in other words, not only should we be encouraging brands, if you will, or merchants, I'll use that term, businesses, organizations, not only should we be encouraging them to receive funds, I'll just use that term, receiving funds, in the cryptocurrencies, they should also consider, like MicroStrategy has, in paying for goods and services, or paying their board members, which MicroStrategy does, or imagine a situation where companies begin to start offering to pay you your bonus if you receive a bonus, or maybe even or a portion of your payroll, where they pay you in Dogecoin, or maybe even better, they give you an option that you can literally each month change it. So let's say they keep a reserve of, you know, whatever it would be, Dogecoin, of course, Ethereum, Bitcoin, maybe Cardano, maybe XRP, maybe some of the others. But if they had a, you know, kind of like a way for you to select from some of those, and maybe even again get different ones on any given month, you know, with a certain amount of heads up notice, then you could start building a pretty good portfolio, and then you could pick a percentage, right? So you could say, I want 15% of my paycheck this month to go into my wallet with Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever. And then, you know, have the ability to do fractional shares. Or not shares, but coins, right? Because it wouldn't be a just an even number necessarily. There might be a fractional. All right, let's get back to the comments. Hey, Manny, I put at least half of my check into the stock market. Not a bad idea. I mean, if you can live on half of your paycheck, then that's definitely making, I think, wise investment decisions there. I'll turn the music up, and we're just going to, just for a minute, I'm going to take a short break, maybe have some other people come on. Hopefully some other people will join. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you guys listen to the music a little bit higher, and y'all can just kind of communicate, if you will, chat amongst yourselves. All right, I'm going to answer. I see that there's some questions coming through, and I know there's some new people joining the stream. So I'll turn the music down, and I'll answer some of the questions that I'm seeing. Marvel statues. So it's better than I guess some of those Marvel statues, as long as you're willing to part with them, they may actually have some resale value at some point. Can I purchase Dogecoin with US dollars? I'm going to assume that you're not in the US, but if you're not in the US but you have US dollars, you know, here's one possibility. And that's a really good question, but you might be able to do that through PayPal. PayPal's not allowing you yet, and Venmo not allowing you to do Dogecoin yet at this point in time. But that's a really good question that I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on. I'm here in the United States. You'll have to let me know if you are as well. But you can certainly buy Dogecoin with US dollar, but it may depend on where you live. Right? What if you live here in the United States? Obviously, if you live outside of the United States, it may be a problem. But thanks for joining, Hero Indonesia. Hey, I hope that you'll smash that like button and hang around. I'm going to get to your other questions, and subscribe and turn on notifications. That would be amazing. We're a small channel now, but we're pushing to gain a wider audience. But what is the music name? So I use and I think there's a link in the description. I use a copyright-free, or royalty-free, I should say, service that I pay for monthly, so that I can have background music on my YouTube live streams or YouTube videos. And it's called Soundstripe. It's similar to, there's a couple of other ones. There's one called Epidemic Sound. There's another one called Art List. There's another one called Music Bed. There's another one called Upbeat. I like Soundstripe for a number of different reasons. So if you're actually a streamer as well, we could talk about it more, maybe even offline. I use StreamYard to stream, and that link is down at the bottom, and you can get a free account on that. But yeah, I really like Soundstripe. I tried to use Upbeat, and what I really want to do is just start a playlist from the actual website, just have it go from one to the next to the next to the next. With Soundstripe, I can do that. With Upbeat, I can't, and I had some videos that got a copyright claim on them, so I'm like, I can't use that other service because I don't have the time to download 50 songs, let's say, because I don't even know sometimes how long I'm going to stream. So thanks for joining. So Devil's Reaper, yes, I agree as well that US dollars are accepted. So, and maybe you're talking about in the context of Robinhood. So Hero Indonesia, I will tell you that I have a link in the description for Robinhood, and you could sign up with Robinhood to get Dogecoin. It's probably one of the more popular places that people get Dogecoin from, although there's problems sometimes with it. But there are other alternatives. But Robinhood, as it's being said here, probably will accept your dollars. And if you use the link that I've got in the description, you can get 2 free stocks. You might also want to look into Webull, or I would get them both because it doesn't cost you any money to sign up for both of them. And with Webull, you get 1 stock for just signing up. You get up to 2 more. I'm sorry, one other one, and the value of those 2 together could be up to $1,850 US. So, and when I pull up the charts every once in a while, that's using the Webull interface that I can have on my computer, and Webull has a really good app as well. I think from a buy and sell perspective, Webull gives you more options. Robinhood's probably easier. The other thing with Robinhood, which I've mentioned before, with Robinhood, your money that you transfer in there is available pretty much immediately, up to $1,000. Whereas Webull, if it's for cryptocurrency, you're looking at 5 days in most cases before you can actually use it to buy cryptocurrency. And honestly, in my mind, even worse is, let's say you have some cryptocurrency and some stock in your Webull account, and you're ready to sell that out and then buy something else. So let's say you've got Bitcoin, just going to throw that out there, and you want to sell that so you can buy some Dogecoin and Ethereum. Well, you have to wait 3 days. From what I understand, at least, you have to wait 3 days to use the money that you basically just received by selling whatever it was you sold, whether it was stocks or cryptocurrencies or a combination. 500 on statues, my friend. Wow. You got to redirect some of that to Doge. Funny story that I think, Manny, that you will appreciate. And I'm doing it less now because I've gotten into Dogecoin, and that's certainly replacing the money that I was making. But there's this, kind of culture, if you will, called EDC, or everyday carry, and there's all kinds of fidget toys and, of course, pocket knives and all the things that are in that category of considered EDC. And I had started buying spinners and sliders and all that kind of stuff, some highly engineered ones that are in high demand but in low supply, buying them, turning around and selling them for a profit. So I was doing that for a while. It was kind of fun, actually, and making sometimes $25, $50, a few times here and there, $100 profit, because people were just so into that and wanting them. So kind of interesting. Of course, it's hard for some people to believe that, you can literally be a millionaire selling tennis shoes. It's kind of hard to get into that market, I think, but you can do it. So that's the one thing that Gary Vaynerchuk, I've mentioned him earlier in the live stream as well. That's one thing that you can honestly kind of learn from him. He doesn't need to do it now, but he can go to a garage sale and buy, a bunch of vintage Hot Wheels or other toys, and basically talk the people down to where he's like, they want, let's say, $7 or $8 because they want $1 for each one of them. He's like, well, how about I'll just take them all for $3? How about that? Will you do that? And then literally turns right back around, and now he has staff people to help him. They'll list it on eBay, and he'll sell it literally right there on the street, just as he's walked away from the house doing garage selling. So there are a lot of ways to basically make side income. It just takes effort and a little bit of thought and just some dedication putting in the time. So Hero, I'm going to pull up for you just so you know or can see. And again, if you're looking at this with a phone, it'll be a little bit more difficult. And I don't know how to. I need to read on Webull. I'm sure there's a way to blow some of this up, but probably not. But I've got a watch list over here. I can click on these to get. Like this is Bitcoin, right? I can pull up XRP. It's funny that looks different. I don't know why it does, but it honestly looks kind of different to me. Ethereum, for example, right? All of these, I just pull them up. This is a combination of both stocks and cryptocurrencies, but all of this is a part of the Webull desktop app. And I'm actually finally approved on Webull from a buying power perspective to buy stocks. And, well, not stocks. I already had the buying power for that. I have buying power now to be able to buy cryptocurrency if I want. So I think I'm going to wait. And hopefully there's going to be another dip that's lower than where we're at right now. Again, it's all perspective, even when we talk about a dip, right? What is a dip? Well, it's something lower than maybe maybe simplistically, it's a price at which you're going to buy, or it's a price that's lower than the last price you paid. But, a dip could literally be you paid 35 cents and now it's 32. I don't really think that there's a specific kind of definition out there on a dip that says a dip is when it's gone X percent below the previous low or something like that. There might be, though. That's another thing I guess I need to look into. So I am going to put up here for just a minute. I literally drank a whole glass of water. So I'm going to really take a break this time. And I'm going to put back up the chart. And y'all can kind of watch that. I'm going to turn the music up and I will be back. All right, we are back and looking for what you want to talk about. One of the things that you guys could help me out with is, I've been talking about Dogecoin now for about 12 nights straight. And, we're going to continue to talk about Dogecoin. Maybe it's been 13 nights now. And of course, I sprinkle in those stocks that I'm interested in and some of the other cryptocurrencies that I'm interested in. But what other things interest you guys? I'm going to have to keep my list fairly short because I like to know a lot about and be very intimate with whatever the subjects are that I'm talking about. So, I can't have a super long list, but I am interested. Obviously, you're my audience, and I'm interested in whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay. Let me know either in the live chat or in the comments things that you'd like for me to talk about. I'm very interested in Tesla and other companies that are competing against them at a really high level. So again, NEO, for example, is very interesting to me. Tesla is very interesting to me. Technology is very interesting to me. And, technology was what I streamed about quite a bit. And, I use a fair amount of technology to be able to do this live stream to the level that I am. It could be better. There are other things that I could add, but I'm getting to where I'm comfortable with the quality of what we have with regards to the lighting and sound, and video quality, all those type of things. The only thing that, or one of the other things that could benefit me more is the internet being even a little bit better. And believe it or not, Elon Musk has a solution for that. I need to check into it. It's about 50% off from what I understand right now, but it's still almost $600, I think, for the satellite and the equipment. And then the monthly fee is about what I'm paying right now, so I really need to look into it. But let me know. I know I have at least one viewer on Twitch, so I'd like to encourage you to come on over to YouTube, and I've got that link. Well, you don't get to see the description, but if you just go to strammel.info/YouTube, then you'd be able to do that, and I'd love to have you over here in my YouTube community. We go live as often as we can on Twitch and some of the other destinations, but my primary streaming platform is YouTube. That's where we want to push our growth, that type of thing. So come on over. And I do see we're getting some new people join the stream. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. A little bit about, do you have Dogecoin right now? Are you looking to get into it? What price? We've hovered at 24 for most of the day today. If you're wanting to get more or get in for the first time, what price are you willing to pull the trigger? Hey, thanks, man. learned some things today. That's great. I hope you will come back and have a great evening, great day tomorrow. We'll be live again tomorrow night, so you can join us then if you're able to, and have a great Doge day. So yeah, thanks. So if we look at the, sorry, I'm going to pull up Bitcoin for a minute and talk about that just for a little bit. It was, and I know it's going to be hard to see, but today's low is 49,948. And the 52-week high, which was, I believe, reached last week, just like Ethereum's 52-week high was also reached earlier last week. They both are probably at a place where buying into those would be very good, right? Because Bitcoin, and I can't tell you how long it's going to take, but there are a number of people, a number of analysts, and people much smarter than me with a lot more data available than me, and a staff of people that can do all the analysts, all the things, that believe that Bitcoin is going to 200,000. So, and it's very possible that even as a hedge, if you will, as a way of diversifying within cryptocurrencies, let's say that you are able to get enough Dogecoin to where when it reaches $1, we're talking thousands of dollars of profit. Hopefully you can wait a year. Let's hope that, honestly, that Joe Biden's policy doesn't go through with regards to capital gains, long-term capital gains. It does affect, he's proposing that it be in effect for those that make $1 million or more. And a lot of people say, well, I don't make $1 million. Well, it's still going to impact everyone, because those that do make millions of dollars, they're potentially going to be out of the market. And so there's going to be some dynamics there that I don't think we can even presume to predict. So all that to say, I think Bitcoin is something to look at. I think Ethereum is something to look at. It would have been better when it was, 2283 or so. It's been down, even more than that. If I look at let's look at the daily instead and go back. Here it was 1600. But if we go around, let me see, when was last weekend date wise? So 16 and 17. If we go around 16, of course, here's where it kind of started taking a dive again. But anyway, here back in March would have been a great time to buy into Ethereum. There are still those that believe that Ethereum is going to pass up, I guess, at least with regards to market cap, which would also mean the price that it could actually overtake Bitcoin. I don't know if that's possible, honestly. I've not thought that through a lot, but who knows? I would also suggest that you go look up ARK, ARKK, and look at what's in their portfolio. This is a ARK Innovation. It is a disruptive technology ETF, so they only invest in what they consider disruptive technologies. So it has over time performed very well. It's actually excuse me, it actually, went up a little bit today, not much. And then the last one I'm going to bring up is Palantir. I think they are a sleeping giant with regards to where their stock could go. Again, I talked about this last night. It's basically trading at half of its 52-week high. Just a little bit over that. But I think it's obvious to see that my own strategy is to have diversification within crypto, as well as diversification within your within some stocks, and one other way to kind of by proxy, I could say, to have diversification within crypto is to own Coinbase. It's trading at a discount from its 52-week high, which was just back in April 14th is when it went live. I do software implementations. when it went public. So another one that you might want to look into. So let's see what's going on in the comments. Okay. We still have a few people on, so we're going to stay on 15 more minutes and kind of just let it run. If we have a bunch of questions come on, or a bunch of people start getting on and watching and participating in the live, then we'll continue going. But we'll definitely hang here for another 15 minutes. That'll be 3 hours, a live stream of 3 hours, and we'll call it a night at that. Last Friday was people just must have been sitting around with more time on their hands because we had a really good crowd. Tonight's crowd's good, don't get me wrong, but we had a lot more comments coming through, a lot more things to talk about. So I know a lot of things have happened today. You probably already had the opportunity to watch a lot of live streams already. So, I realize that coming on at the end of the day, or the beginning of your day, if you're, over in Asia or something like that, you may have already seen a lot of news. And so, my hope is that I bring a different vibe, a different perspective, something that you can still add to your inventory, if you will, of knowledge and thoughts and ideas with regards to Dogecoin and, the broader market, the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem. Another thing I would say, hey, you should take a look at is, and I've already mentioned it, but I would, if you don't mind me throwing a few things out there, I would say go look at what NFTs are, non-fungible tokens. Go look at what blockchain domains are, and possibly go get your name. So whatever your name is, .crypto, for example. And I think tomorrow I will highlight that a little bit and talk about that and share the link on how to get those. But you can just do a Google on blockchain domains and you'll find a number of them. From what I understand about it and how it works, among the many things it can do, you can actually just, by just referencing a name or something like that, you can basically send and receive crypto that way. You can use a software wallet, to be able to connect. I mean, think of it as a blockchain version of PayPal. Hey, Mad Dog Digger, good morning. It is morning. It's crazy. It's 12:40. So we're gonna hang here for at least another 12 minutes. We've already been going for almost 3 hours. So we're gonna shut it down at 3 unless we just get this mad rush of people, which would be a nice problem to have. But Mad Dog, you'll have to tell us, have you bought any more Dogecoin? Have you sold any? What if you haven't bought any more, what price would it have to get to before you would get some more and into your portfolio? We've been talking about what could take it to $1. There are many that think that if Jeff Bezos comes out and supports Dogecoin on an individual basis, or if he announces that Amazon is going to accept Dogecoin as a form of payment, that could literally take Dogecoin from wherever it is to $1, within 24 hours. So that would be pretty amazing. But then who knows what the dip could be? And, maybe it just keeps going up, but that could also, after that few days, there could be a dip. But I think now is a good time to buy. It has broken the 24 mark. Finally, it has been for almost all day. So probably at least 8 hours, if not more. It's been more, I think, in the 24 and change range all day long. And now it's up to 25. So it may be on a new upward trend. I think I'm pretty confident if someone wanted to spend the time to go look at the activity of the wallets from the whales, they might be able to gain some insight into where it's headed, whether they're trying to drive it up or drive it down, something like that. So I would be the first to admit I really don't know what they're up to. Cool. So Safe Moon. So Mad Dog, you're not concerned. I'm curious. Are you concerned about this situation where you basically pay a penalty? Is it only when you sell, or is it when you buy or sell? Or maybe penalty is not a term that they like to use, but I think there's a 10% transaction, cost, if you will, that then gets basically, from what I understand it, put back into the collective of those that have the Safe Moon, and it's like they get a part of that returned back to them. But that's a good idea. So what was your anyway? Yeah, I'm hoping. I haven't done my webull yet, but I have the account and I have my money now. So I need to get my free stock, and I'm curious what it's going to be. Let me ask you something on the free stock. Did you have to wait like 3 days? In other words, let's just assume for a minute, you don't need to tell me how much it was worth, but let's just assume that the free stock was worth $200. From what I understand, the way webull works, you're going to have to wait 3 days for that stock to actually settle before you can actually use the money to buy crypto. Since you've already done it, I'd be really curious. Binance, I can't use Binance, unfortunately, but I bought early and I'm up 3x. Way to go. Way to go. That's awesome. That is awesome. I missed the 17, 2 or 3 days. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That's what I had read. That's not as generous, if you will, as Robinhood, but that's probably okay. I think it might have been you that said you kind of treated Robinhood as a savings account in a sense, or something like that. So I kind of feel like I'm getting my second wind But my free stock arrives on 5/11, so you don't get it immediately. Do you know what it is immediately? I'm going to have to do that tonight, maybe before I finally go to bed, is to get my to get my first free stock. I don't even know what it is. Day trading. Yep, I hear you. Two times a day. Yep. Cool. Well, I'm gonna have to get. I mean, like I said, I have a webull account. I need to go in now, I guess, and claim it or whatever I'm supposed to do. So I have to go figure that out. So, any of you guys heard, I haven't, and I have looked, but have you heard of any new merchants or companies, if you will, accepting Dogecoin? I was telling the earlier crowd that was on that I saw a YouTube video that was, in my opinion, clickbait, because it basically said Amazon accepts Dogecoin, and it didn't have a question mark or anything. It was basically a statement as though, or it said now, it even used the word now. It says Amazon now accepts Dogecoin. And when you actually go watch the video, and it's got like 23,000 views, so I guess it works. I just can't bring myself to do that. And the whole video is about what it would possibly be, or what it would possibly mean if Amazon does accept Dogecoin. And then, of course, they talk about the petition that's got 140,000 or 149 or almost 150,000, I think, people in it on change.org. And as much as I think that's all great, I'm like, I'm just not a big fan of the clickbait. But like I said, I guess it works. But I'm curious to do this little poll. I personally would not spend, if I had millions of it, I might, but otherwise, as an investor, as a long-term holder, and as a person buying at the dip to accumulate more, I wouldn't spend my Doge on an Amazon purchase. That's just me. You are a tricky one there, Mad Dog. Newegg accepted. Yep, they do. That one I was aware of. Houston Rockets do. Mavericks do. You probably know that. It'll be interesting to see if, and I don't know how big a deal it will make. It'll be kind of cool, I guess, in one sense. But I know Axe, the deodorant company, I believe, said that if Dogecoin gets to $1, they're going to basically package one of their deodorants, I guess, with the Doge logo on it and all that. So all that stuff's cool, though. I mean, it helps. It definitely helps to generate awareness, because what we all need as investors, we need two things. Well, we need a lot of things, but two things that would be really helpful and important. I'm going to say three. We need more companies accepting it as a form of payment for goods and services, and maybe even companies where they can pay you if you're the one receiving money from them, give you the option to receive cryptocurrency, several of them, and Dogecoin being one of them. And then number three, we need people like Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, if that would even be possible, and others to get behind the coin as well. So you that's like a trifecta, right? If we could get all that would be some really major catalyst, I think. Yeah, I agree, Mad Dog. The capital gains thing has threw everything for a loop when it was announced. The stock market, you know, for the most part, has caught up or caught back up. I'm sure there are individual stocks that are still underperforming. They have recovered for the most part, but the cryptocurrencies have not, and it's going to be, in my opinion, a major blow to all of this if that actually goes through, because we're looking at, for example, someone in California or New York paying 50+%, if they're in the making $1 million or more bracket. And I guess Biden wants all that money think about the rich. They don't need to work anymore, so they don't have to pay income on wage income. So they're not paying the 33%, or whatever it would be to have a big salary. They're paying at most, I think, 20%, capital gains, long-term capital gains. So that's much more attractive. That's what I'd do. Sure. Meet Kevin. I don't know if you guys have seen his YouTube channel. Of course, he has 12 million followers or whatever it is. So, he was talking about, the fact that he would probably, in many ways, get out of the stock market and just, double down on real estate, which he already does, because that would be unaffected, at least right now, from that, in the sense that you can get out of one real estate property and into another one. But if you ever wanted to take any profits, actually take any money out, any cash, you would still be affected by that. So ultimately, at some point you can't spend real estate. You can't go buy a car with real estate, those kind of things. So you could go buy that next amazing house, as long as it's real estate, quote unquote. I guess one for the other. Don't remember the form. There's some kind of form that you fill out, but so you could do that. But you only need so many houses. You only need, so at some point you want the actual moolah, right? Well, I'm going to just, while I'm waiting on you guys to think through the next thing that you want to chat about, I'm going to look up, see what's going on Twitter. Still think this is funny that I think some people are confused with what happened today with regards to the what SpaceX did today. I think some people think that they were actually going to the moon today. But unless I have it wrong, it's the International Space Station. So I'm curious if you guys have seen this on Twitter, and I know it may be small, but this, somehow they've gotten people to be promoting this Discord site, which I think is maybe it's bogus or whatever, but I've seen this post a lot, that this recent price action, Safe Moon, was clearly a large pump and dump executed by the same group that pumped Dogecoin last week. If you do not believe me, read the announcement in the Discord. So they're certainly trying to push a bunch of people to this Discord server. How many of you guys are involved in Discord or Reddit on a daily basis or in every other day kind of basis. I find that I can't keep up with, honestly, Reddit and Discord and Twitter, for example. So I find myself spending more of my time on Twitter. So I see we've got some new people on. You're going to have to let me know what your where you're coming from. So I'm seeing Damien's on. Good evening or good morning, I guess it could be. I got more Doge when it dropped to 6. Dude, that's awesome. I think that was pretty early in the morning. I guess you were just up. So that's great. That's great. There you go. Yep. A prepper, I think you mean, but yeah, I get it. CGLD is up 21.5%. That's a good return, my friend. It's a good return. Doge is going to the moon. Yes. It would be nice if he would have tweeted. Of course, we talked about this earlier, and I think the general thought is that Elon Musk has got some kind of serious things that he needs to handle. The car catching on fire, or it wrecking and catching on fire and all that, which none of that seemingly is actually the fault of Tesla, but nonetheless he has to deal with it. The SpaceX thing. So him tweeting about Dogecoin would create some press that he probably doesn't want right now. But it would have been cool if he could have just said, well, right now, or say something like Dogecoin is definitely going to the moon, but in the interim, or whatever better word would be, it's going to the space station. That'd be cool if he would have done that. Buy the dips and sell the rips. Yes, my friend. That's right. Then donate. Half to Biden. Yeah, I don't like that last part. I don't want to give Biden anything. Well, friends, I know some of you have just joined, but I've been going live for 3 hours, and if there's any possibility you think what I said in the first couple of hours might interest you, then just rewind the video and watch it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming and hanging with me. Come back another time to this video, even in the comments. Just let me know what other things you'd like for me to possibly talk about. Like I said, I'm gonna have to keep that list fairly short, and it's gonna also have to be things that where we have shared interests, because I find that when I'm talking about things that I'm actively involved in, I'm more comfortable with that, and hopefully I can bring more value that way as well. So we are going to turn the music up a little bit more, and actually I will leave it on for just a little while if you guys want to dialogue back and forth, but we're going to go off of camera, but we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Good night.